You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is the best X-Men podcast ever, where we rank every X-Men story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm the werewolf that is inhabiting the skin of Zack.
Wow.
Retains all of his memories and all of his thought processes, but the Zack who started this podcast 400 episodes ago is dead and has been dead for quite some time. He is not rotting because, again, I'm wearing his flesh.
Right.
That is what is happening. Hey, Adam, how did you learn about the Vietnam War?
How did I learn? How'd
you learn about the Vietnam War? When did you realize that the Vietnam War was a thing that you needed to know about?
Probably in elementary school. I mean, I gotta think that I either had questions about the memorial or like POW.
The memorial, by the way, of all the war memorials, that one is the best.
Why are we talking about this? Why do I need to know?
Oh, it has nothing to do with the episode. I just wanted to bring up something that I learned this week, or remembered this week, is that I learned about the Vietnam War from the religious children's audio drama Adventures in Odyssey, where one of the main character's son died in Vietnam and wasn't a draft dodger, but was very good at track and field because he had mastered the Fosbury flop before most people. So he could high jump like a mofo.
What does that have to do with our 400th episode, Zach?
Nothing. I just thought people enjoy our chats and they enjoy the back and forth between us.
Yes. Well, I mean, last week you went into the whole tangent about, aughts Christian rock, and someone literally started a Blue Sky account just to tell you through me that they also listen to this music. So
Which rules? By the way, that person asked what bands I saw. I saw Anberlin, even though they do not have Stephen Christensen as their lead singer anymore. It was fine. The rest of the band did great. It just wasn't the same because the vocals were such an important part of that band. They had a crossover hit, Feel Good Drag Adam. You might know this. That song. This was over before it ever began. You'd know it if you heard it.
No.
You would know it if you heard it. It was a big crossover hit. Anyway, that was actually It was like.
No, I just doubt that I would recognize it. I don't doubt what you were saying is true.
You listen to alternative rock.
Yes, but not that alternative rock, Zach. I was
This
cool.
Was not.
You were not.
This was cool alternative. I'm not getting into this. That was around 2008-ish, but that was actually a re-record of a song from their 2004 album, Never Take Friendship Personal. Maybe it was 2003. Not their best. Cities is probably their best album. That was their follow-up to it. So I did see them. I said two bands in the last 2 years, and that wasn't true. I didn't see Emery on this tour because they were not on this leg of the tour. I believe it was Thursday. Or it was either Thursday or Armor for Sleep who was on that leg of the tour. They weren't Christian bands. They were just good to see. I'm not an Armor for Sleep guy. Not really a Thursday guy, but I respect them more than anything else. But the other band I was thinking of was that I saw Me Without You. But that was more than 2 years ago because time slips past me. If you haven't listened to Me Without You, Adam, you specifically should listen to Brother Sister because it's just a really darn good album.
I love the idea that, because this is our 400th episode,
people about me.
May have tuned in for the very first time just to see what this podcast is all about. You start the podcast by calling it the best X-Men podcast on the market at the moment, and yet we have spent the last 3 minutes dissecting something that was a tangent on the last episode, and people are probably completely lost right now.
No, Adam, I know our listener numbers. They're good.
Okay.
You know what? If we have an insane spike in 400, I'll apologize next episode. I just don't see that happening. Come on. We've been doing this for nearly 8 years now. We hit our plateau, and it's a good plateau, and I'm happy with it, but I know what we're about, and so do our great listeners.
Yeah, and we got to start the show by thanking everybody for sticking with us. We're not quite at exactly 8 years, but this is 400 episodes. That is a crazy milestone.
By the time this comes out, we're within a week of our 8-year anniversary.
Yeah. It's close. It's real close.
8 years is such a long time to talk about X-Men comics.
It is. And the list is like over 1,000 stories long. It's absolutely insane that we've been doing this for as long as we have, but it's still fun. And I hope people are still having a good time listening out there. So
I like to think they are.
Yeah. We got to thank everybody for just hanging with us for this whole time.
Actually, what I'm going to say right here, right now, top of the show.
Yeah.
If you have ever listened to this podcast, which you have to hear this, told a friend about this.
Audio medium.
Supported it on Patreon, or just anything just to get the word out about this stupid little show. Thank you so much. This has been one of the craziest things to happen in my life, and one of the things that I can drunkenly reveal at work parties. That only happened once, and someone did believe me. They were like, "There's no way." I was like, "I'm Alex. I'm the third most popular X-Men podcaster."
Yep. I like to break that out at work occasionally, and people just look at me like, "What? What's an X-Man?"
There's 10 movies. People know about what an X-Man is. That's not weird. The fact that we have a podcast about it is, I would say, a little weird.
It's funny. I mean, like, you realize that people are not comic book fans and or aren't participating in the larger discourse around them. It's
so smart
funny.
People.
Yes.
So over 8 years, Adam, I think I'm not going to say. I'm not going to blame anybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to think, though, that there's potential that we may have gotten a few of these wrong when we're ranking every X-Men story from best to worst. It's possible that we were having a bad day one day and we were like, "Oh, this comic sucks."
Well, I think what's more likely is that because we've been doing the show for as long as we have, and the nature of like pushing things up and down on an Excel spreadsheet for that long, that some certain things get displaced. And what we've done now a couple times, is this our second or our third time doing a re-ranking?
This is our third re-ranking.
Okay. So we've taken stabs at this in the past. The last time we did this was over almost, I guess it was 100 episodes ago. It was episode 300.
100 episodes ago. Our friend Brian Michael Bendis was on the show.
Yes. So no celebrity guests today. It's just Zach and I kicking it. We may have a friend join us a little bit later.
We may have the most convenient friend guest that we can have.
But, I think this episode is about righting some, I don't want to call them wrongs, but like just some places where things have gotten placed. And I think every once in a while, you and I, as we're doing the show, we're just like, is that really where that is? And so we're going to take a look at them.
Yeah, we are. And so this is the re-ranking. We're going to look at 3 X-Men stories and we're going to re-rank them. Now, all of these X-Men stories are from the first 100 episodes of the podcast.
Yeah. So we're talking first 2 years. And in 2 cases, they are actually from like the first couple like sessions of recording. So
if you want to know, one of these podcasts was literally the first day me and Adam had ever heard each other's voices. Spoiler alert. If you're going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Get on Skype first. Just like hash it out first. And it worked well. But maybe do a dry run to get each other's like vibe down initially. Because there's a version of this where we did 6 episodes.
Yeah, but I mean, as you said before we started recording, like I feel like what the show was clicked into place really fast. But some of those early rankings, they're still haunting us a little bit.
They stay with us. They stay with us.
This first one, though, is one that I think every time we bump into it on the list, and I think listeners who are listening every week will agree, every time this story comes up, we're like, is that really where that is on the list? What is this story, Zach?
This is Uncanny X-Men 268 Madripoor Nights. This is currently ranked at 306 on the list.
Yeah.
And brother, this is from episode 80. That came out in February of 2019.
Wow. Simpler times. So this is currently ranked on our big old list at 306. And because we're doing the re-ranking, should we introduce the big old list now? I guess.
That's the thing. For folks who've stuck through the first 10 minutes of this increasingly convoluted podcast, we generally rank every X-Men story from best to worst. We have ranked 1,059 X-Men stories, which I like to say is too many.
Yeah.
Adam likes to say wow when I say that.
It is. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I didn't realize that was a running gag until recently. Because I didn't know it was either. You say it every time. You say it every time. And honestly, I get annoyed every time. It's like, well, I was in the middle of something, Adam. Thank you for interrupting me. It's fine. But that's also how you feel most of the time when I'm talking. So I get it. You would think we'd have a better system. Yes. The most common Adam thing to say. Zach, get going. We're ranking them from best to worst. The best X-Men comic of all time is House of X Powers of 10. The 250th is that time Dazzler and Juggernaut did a fight. The 500th best X-Men comic of all time is the Age of X Aftermath stuff from X-Men Legacy. Strong Guy Reborn is at 750. 1000 is Ages with an S of Apocalypse, not possessive. They should do an age possessive.
Yeah.
Of Apocalypse. They should really mix that up. And the worst one is 2099 Word of Tomorrow. That's at 1059. So Madripoor Nights, this is from episode 80. Adam, did you go and re-listen to this podcast? Because I thought I could do that today, and I just didn't.
I did not have time in the last week to re-listen to these 3 episodes. And I'm good with that.
I want to
rarely revisit past episodes.
Well, I've never have. So the title of this episode is Battle of the Atom, episode 80 again, which is ominous and implies to me that, yeah, we definitely screwed up on our episode numbers at one time. That may be the time where I started saying I'm not doing episode numbers anymore.
Oh, wait. So is this not our 400th episode? Like,
this is episode 80 again, because episode 79, I don't want to say it's non-canonical because it's a canonical episode. It's the one where Cannonball is in space. We talk about times that Cannonball was in space, but beyond that.
But it was accidentally numbered 80. And then
it was accidentally numbered 80. I think the one before that was numbered. Yeah. No, we just screwed up 80. We just screwed up for a while because 79 is before that. That was me talking to Zach and Lonnie.
Oh.
Number 78 was your New Age religious podcast.
Sure. We don't need to figure this out right now.
Number 77 is probably the worst episode title I ever did, which was your mutant alternative to NPR's Code Switch. I'm going to say that joke that joke didn't land the way I wanted it to in the moment. And even now I look back at that and say, probably would have done a different one. Probably.
I don't even recall that.
I don't know when we got the episode number screwed up because I'm back to 76. At one point, we screwed up the episode numbers. Oh, it was at 75. We didn't do episode 75. We skipped episode 75.
Okay. But
that was right after Stories Where Kitty Pryde Doesn't Get Married. That's a good episode title.
That was a good one.
That's a good one.
We corrected. This is from episode 80. And every time we run into Madripoor Nights on the list, we're like, why is it at 306? Because, at 250, we've got Dazzler versus the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
At 300 is the first 4 issues of X-Men, the manga.
I'm going to tell you, Adam, looking at past Zach left some clues for current Zach.
Oh, I like this. It's like
Battle of the Atom 80 is titled Your Number One Saying the Todd Podcast. Very funny. I once said, hey, the Todd to the Todd. He did not respond. This was at a hotel room. Well, not his room. It was in the lobby.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the episode description for this.
Please.
Zach poured himself in bold, strong drink and talked to Adam about Wolverine. We also talk a lot about Kamala Khan and 3D and the Todd. So I don't know if this was something that I ranked maybe not in my best shape.
That's an interesting theory that maybe, Maybe you were.
I want to go back and listen to this podcast because there's potential there. But Madripoor Nights.
Yeah, not the most recent miniseries that Chris Claremont is doing that I'm not reading. This is Uncanny X-Men.
I'll rate that sometimes. Honestly, those Claremont ones are a hoot.
268. This is kind of a classic issue. This is the one where with the iconic cover of Wolverine, Black Widow, and Cap on the cover, and they're having this adventure both in the past and the present.
I'm going to say something, and I'm scrolling through covers to make sure that I'm saying it the way I want to say it, and I do think I might be right on this.
Yeah, which is
I feel like this is the issue where Jim Lee becomes Jim Lee, the guy for X-Men.
I mean, this is right before we get into the arc around 275, and
it's right before Extinction Agenda. This is a couple of issues before Extinction Agenda.
Yep.
But I feel like, not that Jim Lee's art was bad before this, because he does like the Psylocke stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is when Jim Lee got cemented as, oh no, this is Jim Lee, the guy to draw X-Men. And what everyone will be stuck thinking of for X-Men forever.
I do think it's important to look at the context of what Jim Lee and Scott Williams were doing leading up to, when he really the two of them really hit their stride. Because, if you go back to Jim's early work with Marvel, it's kind of rough. There was a huge jump in talent as he got to this point. And, the cover is iconic for a reason. It looks amazing. But then, of course, you do the flip to the first page. And again, this iconic jumping towards you pose of Captain America jumping into ninja swords, a pose which, Jim would do again with a pretty classic Wolverine cover. It's pretty much the same pose. But, this is really zoning in on, I think, like, really the period of time that everybody has the most nostalgia for this guy. It's not only when he's drawing in the most iconic version of his style, it's not as stiff, it's a little bit more fluid, and there's a lot more expression and character acting in what is going on with the characters.
It was funny when I flipped through this again, and I was like, oh, Jim's doing some cartooning in this.
Yeah.
Like, there is some goofball, like, it, honestly, some stuff that looks like the Todd.
Yeah. There's a little bit of, exaggerated expressions. Like there's, lips curled up and jaws that are a little bit like bigger than they were. And, I think part of that is also because there's such a close collaboration in this time period between Jim, Scott Williams, and Will Sportaccio. So, you do see kind of a merging of their various styles as these issues are being produced. But, we're really getting cemented the sort of like Jim Lee lady's body type that, is going to become iconic for what it is.
Black Widow is doing a Psylocke pose. Yeah. Or what's her name? Who's the one from Wildcats?
Zealot?
Yeah, Zealot. She's put a dot on her head. She's looking like Zealot right there.
Yeah. But, we're getting the sort of, perfect, in quotation marks, iconic bodies of men and women here. But I think it's really important to note the jokes that land with Jubilee because of the acting that Jim Lee is able to bring out of the character. Jubilee is an absolute delight and is the highlight of this issue for me.
Jubilee does not have any time for Black Widow's nonsense.
No.
Or Psylocke's nonsense, for that matter. Jubilee, this is still prime. Jubilee is just Robin from, like, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. She's still in the red and green.
She is deep Carrie Kelly-ing it up, and I love that. But this is a fun story. I think from a plot standpoint, one of the reasons why this sticks out is this is one of the first Wolverine like flashes back to do something in the past stories.
I think this is also why it's remembered so fondly, is because it was really the first indication that Wolverine was very old.
Yeah, not like just like 40 when everyone else is 30.
Right. Yeah. Like we're
He's
talking
old.
He's Indiana Jonesing it here. He's drawn to be a little bit younger. He does not have the claws. At least he's not shown as
He is
having
not
the claws.
shown with the claws because we haven't had the bone claws yet.
Right. But it's so fun seeing a different version of the character interacting with Cap. I think the flashback stuff and fighting the Nazis, Casablanca in style and Madripoor is fun.
Yes.
I think the present day storyline is a little messier.
Are you telling me that a story with Matsuo Sarayaba may be a little bit convoluted and overdone and a bit messy?
Yeah, I mean, like Black Widow faints into Wolverine's arms and then wakes up in a different outfit. That's questionable.
But Matsuo Sarayaba, king of questionable.
Oh no, that was Wolverine that did that.
Oh, I feel like he says something like Psylocke helped or Jubilee or something.
Psylocke helped. Get out of here.
But Wolverine's a lot of things. Wolverine's a respectable man.
I don't know.
And also, Wolverine sees Black Widow as a child. Like, it's important that Black Widow is a baby to him, and she is just a baby that's a full-grown adult at this point. Because last time he hung out with her, she was a baby.
Yes, but Jubilee also properly comments, this is creepy. Why does she keep calling him uncle? We got that great shot of Jubilee kind of like glancing down at her own body versus, the two babes in the room and just like having this very frustrated look to her. I just think there's so much just fun acting about this. The downside to this issue is that it doesn't really resolve. Like, it's very much a Claremont thing where it's like, okay, to be continued. Here's Fenris, their hands clicking champagne glasses together. Guess we'll see what happens next time.
I'm pretty sure you brought up earlier in this podcast, Claremont did get back around to that, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like Chris just recently finished that one.
Yeah. Zach, I did want to point out, because Anna and I watched it this past week. Have you ever seen the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury TV movie?
I have not watched David Hasselhoff's Nick Fury TV movie.
I just bring it up only because, much like the ill-fated Fox television show The Gifted, it does feature villains, Andrea and Andreas von Strucker, the Fenris twins.
Are they just as not saying that it's incest, but there's a weird incest vibe to them as they are in The Gifted?
It's not as crazy, but it's just wild to me that there have been two television show things that involved Fenris. That's very
It's weird that The Gifted had two different versions of Fenris. They had Nazi Fenris and they had kids Fenris.
Yeah.
And the kids Fenris were the good guys. Why?
I don't know. Still a mystery to me.
I love, when I said the other day that maybe I said it to you, maybe they said it to someone else, that they just need to hire me to tell them if an idea is not going to work.
Yes.
Like, that's not true for the Fox X-Men franchise. They do not need to hire me. The Fox people never needed to hire me. They just needed to do whatever they wanted.
And they did. They surely did.
Here's a fun fact. That Wolverine Madripoor Night story that we did not read, Sapphire Styx is in that?
I don't even know who that is. Who's Sapphire Styx?
That is a Eric Larson.
Oh, get out!
Spider-Woman or Spider-Man villain.
Oh my god!
No, it's not. She is from Marvel Comics Presents #1. She's from that, but she joined up with the Femme Fatales from the Eric Larson, David Michelinie Spider-Man in Hunt for Wolverine: Mystery in Madripoor.
Incredible.
Anyway, Sapphire Styx, another big hot psychic lady who body swaps people.
Shocking.
Chris,
he has a type.
Chris, I love Chris so much. Anyway, this story's pretty good, actually. Though
it is pretty good. first of all, it deserves to be higher than 306. That's why you and I have been scratching our heads about it for years. And I think it's also why
it was the first thing we decided to re-rank.
Very first thing, because it always comes up on the show whenever we see it on the list. I guess the question is, just how high does it go? I think this is probably a top 200 story.
Number 200 is Gambit in the Externals. Number 195 is House of M. This is better than both of those.
I would agree. So we're in the top 200, and what is the highest Jim Lee stuff that we have here?
Oh, it's near the top. We've got some. Jim Lee does some good stuff, I say, as I look down the list.
I'm just curious.
Nope, still looking. The problem is Claremont was not on one during most of the Jim Lee stuff.
No, because like the stuff around
Mutant Genesis is at 72. This isn't as good as Mutant Genesis.
No, I don't think
Mutant Genesis is like, it is, I know it's the most popular one, but it is the height of Jim Lee's power.
Yeah. Is this, all right, this is definitely a top 100s book, I think, because this is better than What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires, which is What If 24, that is at 95, which is an amazing story for readers who've never heard of it, where the Punisher becomes Doctor Strange and fires holy water and silver bullets at vampires.
They may be stakes.
Yeah.
It's been a bit.
It's pretty great.
It's been a bit. Just to be clear, do not read What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires during Inferno. That's a different, worse story.
Very bad. That's terrible.
This is probably better than X Factor Volume 2.
I would agree.
I have a ceiling.
What's your ceiling?
I don't think this is a better comic than X-Men Volume 5, Number 4, Global Economics, the comic where Apocalypse goes to the Davos Economic Conference.
Apocalypse wearing a suit. I mean, that's a great issue. Right below that is...
They're talking about the Dark Ages, and he's like, no, that was me. I did that one. That was me.
I think this is better than at 88. We have Runaways Volume 5, 33 to 35, Come Away With Me. So I think it's definitely better than that. So in between there, we have X-Men Volume 5, Number 6, I Want My Wife Back. Pretty great issue.
Issue.
The Astonishing X-Men arc with Dark Iceman. I would say this is better than both of those.
I think I agree with you on the Mystique story. I think that Iceman story has a potent combination of the Gabriel Hernandez Volta art, which is some of my personal favorite stuff.
Okay.
And a really sharp and incisive story by Marjorie Liu that I think works as a complete piece, slightly better than Madripoor Nights. However, Madripoor Nights is dope as heck. And that's the one thing about Gabriel Hernandez Volta. His art is very moody. I would rarely call Walter's art dope as heck. It's during Magneto, and that's about it. And he's never gotten to that level again, even if I think his storytelling has significantly improved in other comics, just not in the doing a dope thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great arc. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, Iceman story ever told. But I think this is more iconic, and I would give it the edge.
Fine. I'm not fighting about this. It's not worth fighting about. This is Madripoor Nights. It's at 86 now.
Yeah, that's a much better, more respectable place for that title. So wait a minute. Here's a question for you, Zach. When you just did that, did you take out the other one?
I did. Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay, great.
So the list is still pure.
Spreadsheet master.
But my life is spreadsheets. Don't even.
I think the much more interesting conversation is about these next two, because these are two that we ranked in our first 4 episodes. And the first one of these is Worst X-Man Ever, which I was very excited to read. It is really high on our list. It is all the way up at 16. And I was excited to revisit it. And I do not think it lived up to my memory of it, unfortunately.
Here's what I'll say. I do not think this is the 16th best X-Men comic of all time. We're going to get that out of the way right here at the start.
It absolutely is not.
It is not the 16th best X-Men comic of all time. Picture it, though. 2017.
This is what I wanted to talk about. Context.
Perhaps Yeah, it was 2017 when this one started coming out, because it first came out digitally, I want to say, and that may have been in 2016, but I wasn't reading things digitally. It was reprinted physically. This
Yes.
is during the Jeff Lemire era of X-Men, what were they weren't even called, this is the Terrigen Mist era.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, the Extraordinary, it wasn't Regenesis. Regenesis was after this.
Yes. This was post Secret Wars. Cyclops is supposed to be Hitler.
No, this is 2016. This is straight up 2016. Yeah, it's feeling like the X-Men fans have a chip on their shoulder. And for the folks who are like deep in the trenches in 2015, 2016, it's hard for me not to say, yeah, I get it, but we need to move on. Because there was concern that X-Men was not going to be a thing anymore. And it was not unfounded.
People were worried and they were concerned. And I think we were very desperate for any kind of semblance of a fun story. And here this was.
This is by Max Bemis with pencils by Michael Walsh, colors by Ruth Redmond, and edited by Jordan D. White and Heather Antos. Just, I think, a fun little note that this was that in 2016, the best X-Men comics were not coming out of the X-Men office. They were coming out of whatever they let Jordan D. White do, because it was this and X-Men 92.
Yeah.
Those were the two good X-Men comics that were coming out at the time. And it wasn't coming out of the X office.
No. But this here, I want to start with the positives. I do really still like this series. I think it's interesting.
I think it's a good series. It's just, I think it's 16th best.
No, I think it's good. I think that it has a unique story to tell. I think that it is telling a different story than I was really reading when it came out. I think when it came out, well, before I talk about that, I just want to compliment Mike Walsh's artwork. He's doing the pencils and the inks here. Ruth Redmond is doing the colors, and it just looks like something. It looked different. It was why when X-Men Marvel Knights came out, we were excited, because we wanted these comics to like not just look like everything else on the shelves. And this has a unique, very cool look to it that I really appreciate.
Well, and I'll tell you, I wish I could say I've been on the Mike Walsh train from Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
That is sadly not true, though I've been on the Mike Walsh train for a spell now, I would say. This is what put me over to him. Like, oh no, but it was between this and the stuff he did on Secret Avengers with Ailes Scott.
Yeah.
Ailes Scott, I thought was fantastic. And now you see what he was doing, both writing and doing the art for the Silver Coin. The art that he has done for Magic: The Gathering, which is dope as all get out. And his current work, Exquisite Corpses, with James Tynion IV and the whole Tiny Onion team. Such a mind-blowingly great artist.
Yeah.
And even if he's not 100% there in this specific comic, like, you can see that, oh, give him 10 years, this guy's going to blow up.
Yeah.
And he is.
But at the time, this just seemed so different and new and exciting. And it was also telling at the time, I was so thrilled by this because of the metatextual storytelling that it's trying to tell, not only through its main character, but also through the addition of a character who can literally explain the sliding timeline. I'm talking about Miranda, of course, here, but is almost just so aware of what X-Men is, poking fun of it, but also a love letter to it. And I think at the time that it was coming out, that was what I was really invested in, and really excited about. It's why when I did a little epilogue to Bish and Jubes for the trade paperback when that came out, I threw Miranda in as a character because
you talking about this trade paperback right here that I have on my shelf in
believe,
arm's reach at all
I believe
times.
You are holding that, yes. But rereading it this time, I was less taken by the meta narrative that was going on, and I was more interested in what Max highlights at the end about who his main character is. His main character is Bailey Hoskins, who is billed as the worst X-Man ever. But in the last page, which is a pitch letter to Jordan, essentially describes him as a bro, describes him as an every dude. And it was interesting rereading this about, I don't know whether Max was consciously doing this or not, but the issues actually have a really interesting story to tell about toxic masculinity and expectations of like what this kid thinks he deserves to be, to the point where his only purpose is self-destruction.
Okay, Adam, you know how I talked about early mid-2000s alternative emo music at the start of this podcast?
Yeah.
You know how all of that's coming back right now to be relevant?
Because Max Bemis is the lead singer of Say Anything.
Max Bemis is the lead singer of Say Anything. Are you familiar with Max Bemis's musical work?
Not really, no. But
here's what I'm going to say. One of Say Anything's most popular songs at that time was called Wow, I Can Get Sexual Too, where the chorus is him singing, quote, I called her on the phone and I touched myself. I touched myself. I touched myself. I called her on the phone and I touched myself. I laughed myself to sleep. What I am saying is that Max Bemis is writing a very specific character, and that character is Max Bemis. Max Bemis is writing a character, the same character that he essentially writes about in Say Anything's ... is a real boy, of his worst qualities, in trying to unpack that. Now, there's some controversy about Max Bemis, not for the normal reasons early 2000s emo people are having controversy. Not for those ones, for different weirder ones that are not necessarily as high of crimes, but like could be like, okay, this is a little odd, and I'm not going to unpack those because I don't know much about them. I just know that it's not a Jesse Lacey situation. What I do know is that this is a troubled individual, like that's how he would describe himself, who is constantly unpacking things in his work. And it was very interesting to go back and see the type of bro-y toxic masculinity thing that he's writing about, which is not necessarily what a kid in 2016 would have been like, but it's very much what a kid in Zach's exact teenage years would be like.
I think the one that the thing that really like turned the light bulb on was when Bailey is talking about how he, like, in the first issue, like really likes Dane Cook. And I was like, okay, all right. So,
But do you think I didn't listen to that hamster song that Dane Cook made?
I'm just saying it's really interesting to look back on this and see the ending in particular, which is that Miranda has abandoned Bailey up until the moment that she comes back and has the big reveal of what her purpose is in the Marvel Universe. And yet her expectation at the end of the story is that she's been waiting for him to use his power, which is to die. And that's a really bleak and dark ending in a way that I don't know if I really took as much of a look at the time, because I was a little bit more amused by the fact that there's a table for the loser X-Men at the reunion.
It's so important. Bailey's power is to blow up.
Yes.
But one time.
Once.
He will die.
Regenerate. Right.
Very funny. Like, great. A Cy Spurrier ass power.
Yes.
Very great. But writing about a really self-destructive teen, like rereading, I was like, oh no, this is Max Bemis is just continuing to work through his entire life here on the page.
Yeah.
Literally writing himself and his character out of history by the end of this. I mean, like, he would redo the exact same thing with the character from Is a Real Boy later on an album that's not very good. It's just musically not very good.
Yeah.
It's not the worst Say Anything album, but it's up there.
I just there's something about kind of like recontextualizing it after revisiting it. You know, we're almost 10 years away from this book having come out, and it's just interesting. I certainly do not think this is a top 25 book. And honestly, I think we're probably quite a bit lower than that.
We're probably, here's what I'd say. I think we're lower, but this is still pretty good. Like
it is very well done. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm curious if you think this is a top 200s book.
I would say that I think this is a top 200s book.
Okay.
I think that there is a lot to love in this story. One, Walsh's art is fantastic.
Mhm.
Two, if you're the kind of weirdo X-Men freak like we are, and you're listening to our podcast, so I assume you're at least in the vicinity, you're gonna find something that makes you laugh.
Oh yeah.
I think that there is some pacing issues with this comic. Specifically, I don't think Miranda is as well integrated into the plot as she should be. And she should really be like an issue 2 and there for the entire time kind of thing versus a couple of pages here and there character. I feel like that could have been reworked a bit to make it happen. And I feel like the villains of this, Rags and Riches, specifically Riches, they're both really underdeveloped. Rags is almost a nothing character. Riches is underdeveloped.
Agreed.
But there is that 2-page thing where he finally gets Professor Xavier's attention, and Xavier says, I'll be honest, I don't know what the point of any of this is. I'm just kind of like doing it.
Yeah.
And
we're going for a collection of moments as opposed to like a full understanding of what the future should be.
And look, when we ranked this comic for the first time in August of 2017,
yeah,
like,
it was rough.
You know, we were looking for that collection of moments to keep moving on for.
Yes,
Little did we know that this was more just, okay, I guess we got to buckle up because this is life now.
Yeah.
But like, I get why that was so impactful when we first read it and when we first ranked it. Like, I get how that was a hard one for us to like move past because there's a lot to love here. I wouldn't say that it is a top 16 X-Men story. I would say it's if you haven't read it, go into it and like just enjoy, because there's a lot of good in this.
Yeah, I would agree. That said, I think my ceiling is 161, which is X-Men Volume 6, 15 through 17, when Forge goes back into the vault.
That's 158, buddy. Nope, it's 161. You're right. I'm looking at the list on the internet, which I have not updated. That's
okay.
That's Zach from the past.
I was like, am I having a moment?
No, you're not having a senior moment. You're good. My ceiling is 179, which is Age of X-Men Extremists, a comic that does not have as good of art, and I feel like if Michael Walsh drew Extremist, it would actually be a significantly better comic than if George Gentry's drew it. In the same way, I think if George Gentry drew this comic, it would be a worse comic. But I would say that's probably my ceiling.
I mean, right below that is Amazing X-Men, Age of Apocalypse, and I'd be fine putting this right above that.
Which one's Amazing? Is Amazing the Joe Mad one, or is it the other one?
Hold on. I think
it's the Joe Mad one.
I just looked at these. I feel so stupid. No, Astonishing is the Joe Mad one, and that's
Astonishing's the Joe Mad one. This is okay. So this is this
is the Quicksilver book.
This is the Quicksilver book with Cuba. I mean, I would put it below Amazing X-Men because right below that is Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, which is probably a little high.
Yeah,
but that's a fun story. Murder at the Mansion is right below that. Revolutions, like the first 4 Scott Summers Revolutions era stuff from Uncanny.
Yeah.
I think we're right there, actually. Like, that's the spot for me. I do think this is better than Age of X-Men, Marvelous X-Men, a comic I love. But this is worse than Danny Fighting Death, though.
Okay, so this is going to be, we're going to slot it in at 185.
As long as my friend Adam is okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot for it. And I think we've corrected something. We are going to do one last correction in our re-ranking here. And this is another one that when we come upon it on the list, we are often scratching our heads as to, is that where that belongs? We ranked this all the way back on our 3rd episode, Zach, and this is our namesake, Battle of the Atom.
Battle of the Atom. Okay, so here's the thing. One, we are named after this podcast. I want to be clear, even at the time that we named ourselves that, it wasn't because Battle of the Atom was our favorite story. It just seemed like we were looking for names, and that was a good one.
Yeah.
It thematically told you what we were doing in this show.
Yeah, and it made sense because we were gonna fight about, where the X-Men stories went on the list.
That's the bit. That's the bit that we're doing, and I think that's a good bit.
Yeah.
Folks, we ranked this comic literally the first time we ever talked.
That's true. It's true. And we were tired too, I think, because we had done 3 episodes in one sitting. So this is
oddly enough, Adam, those 3 episodes recording may have taken 2 hours. At most, because they're 30-minute episodes.
I have a note in my little notebook from when we started, and it says what does it say? Oh, it's like quick 30-minute episodes, like 8 minutes per story, no more. And I was like, oh my God, we've broken that rule significantly for the better, I think.
I think we found a really nice format.
Yes.
And I enjoy it. Battle of the Atom is an event comic from 2013.
Uh-huh.
This came out right after I got married.
Oh, congratulations.
I had very little money, and I did spend some of my very little money to buy issues of Battle of the Atom.
Yeah, so Battle of the Atom has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 issues. It features writing from Brian Michael Bendis, Jason Aaron, Brian Wood. Am I missing anybody? I think those are
You're not missing anybody on writing. On art, we have like a hodgepodge of folks, as so often happens.
Yes.
In a comic like that. Frank Chow does the first issue, along with Stuart Immonen does a few pages of that. Immonen continues on some issues. David Lopez is here for an issue. Chris Picciallo and his army of inkers is here. Giuseppe Capicoli does the Wolverine stuff. We have...
And then Assad Ribic shows up at the
Assad Ribic shows up for the last issue, which he was not supposed to be on. It's weird when Assad Ribic is your fill-in guy.
And can't finish the issue, because of course he can't.
Okay, he couldn't. Also, Frank Chow's name is on the cover. I don't think Assad Ribic was given his fair share, because the guy who fills it in is Giuseppe Camicoli, who I have heard from Marvel people in the past. We like Giuseppe. He's also the fastest dude out there. He's the fastest guy that can do this is still a good, acceptable page of comics.
Well, let's just take this from an art standpoint. There's such a wide divide here, right?
Too wide of a divide.
Regardless of what you think about Frank, his first issue looks really good. Stuart Immonen's...
He's a fantastic art. That's why Frank Chow's so annoying, because he really is just like EVS, kind of a pain of an artist. I don't enjoy his work. Frank Chow, he draws one thing, and he does draw that one thing very well.
So regardless of Frank, you've got Stuart Immonen here killing it. You've got Chris Bachalo kind of doing his thing, which he's been doing on the book, so that there's a consistency. But unfortunately,
I'd say the issue with that is the reason Chris Bachalo is on Revolution stuff and Stuart Immonen is on the 05 stuff is because they are such different artists. That was a very specific artistic vision to speak to the differences of these two books, which works really well when they're on stands next to each other. This is the hard-edged, tough, but kind of strange team, and this is very classic superheroing team. That doesn't work as a 10-part story.
No, and unfortunately, because you have to include Wolverine and the X-Men, and you have to include Brian Wood's adjectiveless X-Men, which it only had 4 issues, the first of all, the art, I said I was going to stick to the art. The art that's not those three artists is just bad. David Lopez is a very talented artist, but he's not at the heights that he will be when he gets to All New Wolverine. His artwork here is very bland. And Kevin Coley's stuff, I'm sorry. I'm glad it's quick. I'm glad it came in under deadline. It looks terrible, especially that last issue that Ribic is phoning in. And when you do the page flip to Kevin Coley, you're just like, are you serious? This is really a finished comic that we put into the world?
They had to get this comic out there because every comic that was scheduled and already done for the next week was already there.
Yes.
So it is the nature of events. I'll say covers look great. Great covers.
A lot of Art Adams doing the covers.
Wish it was all Art Adams, just to be honest.
Yeah.
The Ed McGuinness covers aren't bad at all.
No.
But it's hard that they give you a lot of Art Adams, but not exclusively Art Adams. They give you 5 Art Adams and then 5 Ed McGuinness. That's fair. That's a fairly fair trade. It's front loaded.
Yeah.
With Art Adams.
I do
dope front cover. That first cover is pretty dope.
The in Art my Adams heart of hearts, I think I have a poster of that somewhere. It's such a good cover. In my heart of hearts, I have still a lot of love for some of the things that are introduced here. I think that if this was just a Bendis story and it was just between his 2 books, this actually would still rock.
Oh yeah, because this book does not need Brian Wood jumping in and saying, "Remember my book?"
Yeah. Hey, Jubilee needs a babysitter. At the time, I really
liked. It's Jubilee.
Rachel is here.
Jubilee and Rachel play important roles, but only in the Brian Wood stuff, and then only to Exquisite Corpse her back out from the Brian Wood stuff, which is, it feels like they were voluntold that he has to play along.
Yes.
It's also Jason Aaron. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, or if I just talked about it with friends before, but if you look at what Jason Aaron has done, especially with his Avengers run, this is where I most noticed it because it was Avengers. Jason Aaron is not necessarily interested in playing with other people's toys or tying into other people's stuff. He is not a tie-in guy, at all. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Tie-ins are generally annoying and bad, so I don't blame him for that. But you can tell he doesn't want to do this story either, right?
No, and that's why those issues are so flat. And this is why I think if it was just Bendis, you have such great fun concepts in this. The Future Brotherhood is a blast. I think even the future version of the X-Men here are actually really interesting.
The Future Brotherhood, for folks who don't know, because again, Adam, you and me know this comic by heart. I'm not going to pretend like we don't. Other people do not. The Future Brotherhood, who you don't know are the Brotherhood to start, are Charles Xavier II,
mm-hmm.
who is a nothing character, but I get why you have him as the future X-Men. Zorn, who is actually 05 brought to the future Jean, who never went back to the past.
Right.
Great. Love that. Catherine Pride, who is really Ray's Darkholm, the mutant son of Wolverine and Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
He's bad. Ray's is not a good character.
No.
Ray's is among the worst of Wolverine's kids, and he has a lot of bad ones. There's a version of the Beast who's actually great and probably has the most nuance and ties to
love him.
Bendis' stuff. An Ice Hulk who is nothing but does get some funny Bobby jokes in there. A Deadpool that I like that design for future Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then Molly Hayes, who is my favorite, and I love her forever.
Mm-hmm. It's a great team. It's a great lineup. Great character designs throughout this book. Unfortunately, the bulk of the story has to be about Scott and Jean running away. And then are they going to team up with Scott's team? Then we've got to stand around and have a psychic fight where we don't see really much of what's happening. People are just getting nosebleeds.
I kind of love that. I don't think it should be the centerpiece of a big event comic, but I think that's a really funny bit.
It's a fun idea. In rereading it, I was like, this is very dull, especially when it is not drawn by
you need to make the joke that it's not visually interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it needs to be that the joke is that this is not visually interesting and not the visually interesting centerpiece of a story.
Yeah. So you've got this sort of like hot potato with these characters bouncing around. And then we've got the future X-Men that pop in. And
The future X-Men are Wolverine, who is Jubilee.
Yep.
Ice Master, who is a wizard Bobby Drake.
Yep.
Colossus, who has a handlebar mustache and Ileana's sword.
Right.
Phoenix, who is Quentin Quire.
Love it.
Billy Kaplan's here. Wiccan's here, and he's wearing the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a Bendis poll right there. That was Bendis saying, I love the Hood. We're making him an X-Men.
And Sentinel X.
Shogo Lee. As I've gotten older, I have come back around to saying you probably shouldn't have given Jubilee a kid, but Sentinel X is a nice way. If Jubilee's going to have a kid, that's a nice
Love Sentinel
thing.
X.
X-Men shouldn't co-op Sentinel technology. That's all I'm saying. Bad idea.
It is a purple Iron Man suit, though.
It's a purple Iron Man suit.
Yeah. So all of those individual things are great. Unfortunately, like it feels, especially at the end, like a real rug pull when we learn that the O5 can't go back and we're not sure why. So we don't get any resolution there. And then really the only thing of consequence that seems to happen at the end of this is that Kitty and the O5 kids go to Scott's team. That's really the only like end thing that happens here. So
yeah,
really,
Bendis got tired of playing with the Wolverine and the X-Men cast, and he was like, I want all of my characters in one place.
Exactly. So, essentially the stakes are really only for Bendis's books. And it's like, okay, who cares?
There are no lasting stakes in this. I do kind of think that if this story ends with the O5 going back, general readers would look more fondly on the O5. Not that there weren't good stories with them afterwards, and stories that I really enjoyed, but I feel like if you just give them like a year and a half of like, hey, the original X-Men are here, and now they're going back having learned their lesson, I kind of think all of the books would have gotten better.
Could have.
For like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like as a whole.
I just think once you drop something like they can't go back, why? That needs to be, answered in a satisfactory way that is not how it was eventually answered, not by Bendis.
Well, because they tried to answer it as, well, they're never going back, and then they tried to answer it again as, no, we have to send them back. Why would we not send them back? That's not how time travel works.
So I still have a lot of fondness for this, but it is definitely too high on the list, Zach.
It is incredibly high on the list for what is a truly messy comic. It's at 240 right now. And as much as I adore this, and as much as I hate when comics are like, hey, this is your favorite character, but with a new costume, I'm a sucker for these characters in these costumes.
Yes. Because the Future Brotherhood does come back, and they are awesome. They're a lot of fun.
They're good. And by there, I mean, I don't know if... Here's the thing. The ones that are good are like the Ice Hulk and Molly and the Beast and Deadpool. And most of those can't be ongoing concerns.
Well, Deadpool doesn't... Does Deadpool make it out of this? I think he dies, doesn't he?
He might, but time travel stuff was involved in that. The problem is Reyes is their leader, and so is Charles Xavier II, and those are the worst characters on that team.
Yeah.
This is not in the 240s. This is not number 300. This is not as good as Anatomy of a Monster or X-Men 2099 Lilapalooza.
So at 400, we have Astonishing X-Men Unstoppable. Is this a 300s book, or are we going into the 400s?
We should probably go into the 400s. I think Unstoppable has some issues, but again, I think about it a lot more than this.
I think we're probably in the 400s, though.
What's at 500 right now? Age of X Aftermath. Yeah, we're in the 400s. This is a solid 400s story.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to bring up something that I found our range right here. At 477 is Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance.
That's fun. But
478 is Dark X-Men Volume 2.
Yeah.
All the way down at 495 is Weapon Plus World War IV. I think we're in spitting distance between those.
Is this is better than at 483, X-Men Volume 6, Lord of the Brood.
If that's what you think,
do you think it's lower?
I kinda. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, this is better than the
I
bulk.
don't like Lord of the Brood as much as you did.
No, I'm saying that this is better than that.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I didn't like Lord of the Brood as much as you did. I think Lord of the Brood is better than Battle of the Atom.
Oh, okay. Well, how low do you want to go?
I would say if this was Zach's list and Zach's list alone.
Well, we're in the same range. I want to hear what you have to say.
Wait. Oh, Adam, is this better than the time that Omega Red had a tiger?
Yes.
Is this better than the time that Wolverine was a House Paps? Fine. Is this better? Oh, man. Okay, yeah. I much loved Grant Morrison. Imperial's a freaking mess of an arc with some of the worst.
Terrible artwork.
Again, sometimes Marvel just puts you in a situation if you're a Croatian artist.
Though, Zach, I will say right above that at 490 is Tales of Suspense 49, an absolutely hilarious Iron Man Angel crossover, which might be better.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say slightly better than that Tales of Suspense comic. Right below that, right below X-Men 2099, 8 through 11, the Zao arc with the original X-Men, but they're mutant versions of them.
That's great. So Battle of the Atom.
It's exactly as good as that 2099 story. And I think we've just learned where comics that are exactly that good should go. And they're right here with that time Sabretooth had a tiger. Yeah, a baby tiger.
All right. So Battle of the Atom, our namesake, is now our 490th story.
Honestly, that feels better.
That feels more appropriate. It did not read well upon reread this past time.
It was a quick read. I'll give it that. It was a breezy read.
All right. Well, that was some re-ranking, but being it our 400th episode, we did promise some Q&A. Only problem is I don't seem to see any questions. Oh, do you hear that? What is that sound? Sounds like a train coming in.
I've arrived through the mountain pass.
Jesus Christ.
I've survived a hazardous journey to bring you this heavy load of questions. Oh, man.
Hey, Anna. Why were you on a train with our mail?
Because there were so many questions, and it's a perilous journey. You see what we've got here, opening up some noisy mail. All right, here we go. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dr. Anna Papard. Good to see you.
It's me, Dr. Anna Papard.
Hi, friend.
Of the mail train.
Zach, there's a lot of questions here. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I am vaguely ready, but prepared to not be ready at any given moment.
Okay. Well, we're going to do our best, listeners.
Ripping open the seal on the very first letter. We have Robert via Patreon asks, many otherwise good writers have had bad X-Men runs. Who had the steepest drop-off compared to their other work?
I mean, I know the obvious answer to this.
What's the obvious answer? I want to hear your obvious answer.
Chris Claremont.
Oh, what? No.
Yeah. Chris Claremont Volume 2 is terrible. I will not hear anything otherwise. I mean, he had
compared to their other work, and I'm not saying Chris Claremont's Volume 2, but like there's some really good writers who have written atrocious X-Men comics.
Who comes to mind in this prompt?
Two people to me come to mind very specifically. First one that comes to mind, and I think this is the number one answer with a bullet, Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker, one of the best comic writers, especially if you're a man in like Man Comics.
Yeah.
Ed Brubaker,
not
terrible X-Men writer.
Not good at X-Men.
Terrible at X-Men.
Yeah.
Great about writing crime comics.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer. Well, who's this other person you were thinking of?
I would also say Warren Ellis. And I know that's not... I know, but also like from an objective critical standpoint, there's a gulf between Warren Ellis's X-Men comics and the other comics that Warren Ellis wrote.
These are solid answers. All right. What do we got next?
You're not answering this?
No, I said Chris Claremont.
Oh, you already said.
You don't have an answer besides Chris Claremont. Hold on, because I've talked about a lot of bad Chris Claremont comics with you, and you find joy in them.
I mean, I find joy in them, but they're not good. And he made the most amazing, iconic X-Men comics of all time. And then he came back and made really terrible ones for a really long time.
Okay.
That's my answer.
I've read X-Men forever, Zach.
I know you. Anna, hold on. You're a scholar. Anna, do you have an answer to this one? Because I kind of want to know.
It's not my show.
I know it's not your show.
I haven't read 1,000 and some X-Men stories and done 400 episodes ranking them. So how can I have an opinion?
You've definitely read 1,000 X-Men stories. And two.
Hopefully.
All right, here's what I'll say. Another one that comes to mind is Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, Jeff Lemire.
Jeff did his best, but not a good fit for the
Jeff Lemire, a guy whose comic autobiography I saw came out. It's like, oh, I want to read that.
Yeah, really talented guy, not the right fit for X-Men.
Jeff Lemire is an uneven guy, but his highs are very high for me personally. Again, sad dad comic man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's next?
From a stranger named Robert Secundas.
Who's
How
that?
about you guys?
Again via Patreon asks, opposite questions for each of you given your opposite relationship with the current material. Zach, what would it take / what would have to happen for you to come back to reading X-Men comics weekly? And Adam, what would it take / what would have to happen to get you to stop? I feel like this should be reversed, but I'll let you guys handle it.
Anna, I don't read X-Men comics anymore.
Okay.
That's not true.
Okay.
No, it is. Adam, it's true as heck. We were talking about...
No, I know.
You know this is true because last week, while I was getting swole, I was texting you in between sets about, hey, I saw a headline of a thing that you wrote, Adam, about this thing. What's up with this comic? Is it bad? And you said, yeah, it's real bad.
All right, so what would it take, Zach, for you to come back?
I mean, look, this is the most reductive thing I've ever said. Just make them good. Like, I'm sorry, I have a limited amount of time in this world. You make the comics worth my time, I'll read them. And you know what? That means sometimes hire interesting people that I like. You know what? Do you know why I read that first round? I like Alex Pagneto. I like Declan Shalvey. I generally like Jed McKay. I was willing to give them the old college try and give them a shot. And here we are now. And the most interesting stuff, the stuff that I liked and the writers that I tend to enjoy are not currently working on it. The artists, there are some artists I really like, but I can just flip through a PDF if I really want to just see pretty art. And there's a lot of really good artists out there. So I can go to other places, just put good, interesting people on the comics and let them tell good, interesting stories. That's literally, that's all I ask for. Get my attention away from reading a 30-year-old Haruki Murakami book. That's what you have to do.
Nice.
Wind Up Bird Chronicle, just for you.
Great book. Love
specifically just for you, Adam, because I think you were going to say like in 10 minutes, wait, what book is Zach reading right now?
I do love that book. Robert, our good friend Rob, just so you know, I'm not reading all of these comics. I'm glancing through some of them.
Adam hate skims them.
I'm definitely reading Uncanny because I'm reviewing it with Austin. And honestly, I've enjoyed some of it. I've enjoyed some of the stories that have come out of the current era, but I'm not on the whole enjoying everything that's coming out of this Brevoort office. So I'm not reading everything, and I am very interested to see at what point we are going to get the hard reset and go back to the mansion and what that's going to look like, because I know it's coming. But I don't know. Writing with Comics XF gives me the excuse to stay engaged, and I appreciate that for good and for bad. So that's all.
So is the answer to both of these questions really to continue writing for a comics website or to stop writing for a comics website?
It might be.
I think that's at the root of it. I'll tell you what the answer is not.
Yeah.
Is doing a half-baked Age of Apocalypse riff.
I think that might come up later.
Things.
That might come up later in the mailbag.
That may come up later, then we'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait. Because I'm not reading. I am keeping up with the news. And texting Adam frequently about, you seeing this?
Is this happening?
Buddy Nooning via Patreon asks, who are your top 3 weird little guys, be they named characters or just fun designs?
Adam, do you have some weird little guys?
Weird little guys. I mean, Dupe is great.
Dupe's on my list.
Bamf is always great.
Anna, close your ears. I'm not super pro Bamf. I liked it better when it was a doll and not like a dude.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, there's a variety of different Bamfs. I'm not saying you have to be like #1 Pickles fan club. I mean,
when they became creepy, horny little dudes, I mean, it was a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So when Dave Cockrum made them up, because they were creepy, horny little dudes then, they were just cuter.
Well, yeah, we're saying the difference between when it was a doll and when they became Bamfs. So that's all I'm saying. Mm. When they became alive, yeah.
What? No, because do you think, Anna, I know you know that they're creepy, horny little dudes in that Nightcrawler miniseries. Do you?
No, I know. I'm just saying, you said you liked Bamfs better when they were a doll, so I'm saying I agree with you. Once they became alive and they were horny little dudes in their first appearance, I was sort of like... Yeah.
That's fair. I guess we've never talked about with you and I have never talked about the Dave Cockrum Nightcrawler series.
I guess not. I do love that series.
Yeah, I like this a lot too. Have you been seeing that there's a bunch of like indie artists that are just like recreating Dave Cockrum Nightcrawler stuff?
Ooh, can you send us links to that?
Yeah, like Caroline Cash and Noah Van Shiver, who is the one that's apologizing for his brother at all times.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you that. You'll get a kick out of it.
Other weird little guys, Artie and Leech. Do they count as
Artie and Leech? Never mind that. I was looking for my third on this, and DOA was up there.
Oh, DOA is good.
Do you know? Okay.
What about your rat guy with like a smiley face?
Dirt Nap's on my weird little guys list.
I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Widget is fun before he becomes Kitty Pryde. Or
Widget's a
great design.
I have complex feelings about Widget. I like him better the more he's a weird little guy. I like Widget.
You got any more weird little guys that were?
Nah, you kind of covered the weird little guys that I had. Dirt Nap and Dupe were pretty far up on that list.
All right. Good list of weird little guys.
Those are some weird little guys. Man, I love these weird little guys.
Dustin Pierce via Patreon asks, oh, this is a question you're going to like, Adam. What overpriced cover gimmick from the 90s do you love, regardless of both good taste or the content within? And they added, I personally love the Alpha Omega Chromium covers.
I know my answer. Do you have an answer to this, Zach?
I like it when they die cut things and then you can open.
Ooh, die cut. That's a good answer.
I both like the die cut and I also like the embossed because I had Silver Surfer 50 as a child and I thought that was one of the coolest covers that has ever existed.
Yeah. My answer for this is 100% holograms. Anna knows that I spent a good chunk of time last week like watching how to make hologram videos, and it is my goal before I leave this earth to like figure out how to actually make my own hologram, because I just am fascinated by it. It's absolutely insane, like photographic magic, and the fact that we used to live in a society where we got holograms on comic book covers. It's just the pinnacle of excess, and I loved it. So my answer is holograms.
Clear, we still do live in a society.
Sure, but not a society that has holograms on comic book covers. Sorry. Those days are gone. All right, what's next?
Alexander Lundqvist via Patreon asks, what X-Men story made you the most viscerally angry while reading it? Yeah, you should answer that one.
That one I want to answer. I want to answer the viscerally angry. I don't care about favorites. And nothing against question askers. It's just that that's the show. Just listen to the show. We've covered that one. What's made me viscerally angry? IVX number 6 did get me to... IVX number 6 got me so mad that back when I was a Reddit moderator of our comic books, I was, this is not a joke, nominated for an award because one of the most impactful things to happen in our comic books for that year is me rescinding all of my recommendations of Death of X and IVX 0 through 5 and saying, actually, this is all trash garbage.
Nice. Amazing.
That got me nominated for an award.
It was a difficult time.
I crashed out hard on that one.
I mean, I will say that I think the ones that really just made me the angriest are a lot of the stuff that's just at the bottom of our list. I specifically remember reading Phantom X Max and just getting so mad. I was so angry when we recorded that. I was so angry that I had read it. That one really boiled my blood. But that's not a comic book that actually matters. I'm trying to think of like one that really just drives me absolutely insane. I know
I'm in a
there's
weird place with the bottom of our list because a lot of these I have now not turned around and saying is good, but I can now read and appreciate for their like insane value. Like
Sure.
Chuck Austin, for example. I'm not getting mad at Chuck Austin anymore. I've done enough of that. Now I'm laughing with Chuck Austin.
Yeah, I'm not saying all of them at the bottom make me mad, but I will say that there are some down there that just really, really aggravate me. But I don't know. I try not to dwell in my anger and my hate. People who want to read me angry can read my Uncanny reviews.
Those are fun.
What do you got?
We got a bunch of Blue Sky questions
Ooh,
now.
Blue Sky.
Friend of the pod, Chris Hassan, asks via Blue Sky, you have a clear sense of what you like and don't like in a story when ranking. And while there's certainly crossover in your tastes, you also disagree at times. So my question to each of you is, what, in your opinion, makes for a great X-Men story? Broad question.
I think good art goes a long way to elevating a story. And if it has good artwork, then I'm willing to forgive a lot of story flaws. But in general, I think the one thing that I'm usually looking for is forward momentum. I want stories that feel consequential. I want them to just be like pushing the timeline forward instead of feeling like they're in the world is in stasis.
I do not actually need the X-Men to grow old and get married. I do need to feel like narratively they are always rushing to some new thing. Like things should feel like they matter. One and done stories are great, but like if you're talking about great X-Men stories, is that like everyone's chasing Claremont, and Claremont was all about forward, never the end. Like we are always going to keep pushing and doing something else and trying new things. Oh, it's the spark. I just did the spark. I just said the spark.
Zach, you believe in the spark?
I guess I do. I want to put an asterisk on Adam's good art. I would almost change that to cool art.
Oh.
So I think what I think is important for X-Men comics specifically is not necessarily Stuart Immonen, who I love. But we talked about it earlier in this episode. Stuart Immonen is good. Chris Bachalo is cool. Like, I think Jim Lee is good and cool. So cool that he redefined what good was for everybody in comics. At least for a spell. He did that. I feel like you need to be the coolest artist out there to do it. It's why Frank Quitely works on New X-Men, regardless of people's feelings about Frank Quitely people. It's because his art's cool as heck. Like, that's just what it is. It's really cool and wrinkly, but also really cool. Like, give me cool art. Pepe Larraz, RB Silva. That was cool. Like, give me cool.
I love this.
That's what I want. Cool. Adam, have you seen the art in my room? It's not quote unquote good all the time. It is the cool dope stuff. I just want something that is cool.
Zach wants the cool dope stuff. Okay, Chris?
I want a man thing who is a super soldier who has a Gatling gun. Can I ask one question that and if you don't want to actually answer this online, Adam, that's fine.
Yeah, go.
One of the people on Patreon did ask, is there a comic story on the list that you wished was much higher, much lower, but won't re-rank out of kindness / deference to the other host? And all I want to say is that I tried to get Adam to re-rank X-Men Phoenix Legacy of Fire, and he refused.
Yes.
And I think that speaks a lot to him and me and where we're at in our lives now, because I was like, oh no, I do want to read this terrible trash comic and put it back into my brains and put it back in the world. And Adam said, we need to wrap that in tinfoil and never let it escape again. It is done. It is gone. We do not need to do it.
Ah,
Go back to our early episodes if you want to hear our initial thoughts on that. I think I would laugh a lot more. But I also don't have easy access to that comic because I'm not letting such cursed items as that or C.B. Cebulski's weird horny sex comics into my life.
thank you. I'm so glad we didn't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Next question.
Sky Shark on Blue Sky asks, what's the most outlandish X-Men haircut you'd be willing to try? I'm going to add to this. You could also answer with facial hair or eyebrow styles.
Oh, well, that's true. A lot of the X-Men have like very pointy eyebrows, like Spock brows. Listen, I'm not changing my hair.
Adam, you've had the same hair the entire time I've known you.
Yeah, and
Why mess with perfection?
I'm not
though?
messing around with it.
Let's
I'm
be real.
very grateful as a 44-year-old man to have a nice full head of hair. I don't want to jinx that by trying to experiment with anything. And will I admit to being maybe getting ready for Halloween and thinking like, I wonder, could I spike up the backs of my hair and the sides of my hair to look more Wolverine because I had a big poof? And the answer was no, my hair is too curly and poofy to do that. But I'm not trying any hairstyles. Zach, are you trying any hairstyles or facial hairstyles or eyebrow styles?
I mean, I would do the Dave Cockrum Professor X eyebrows.
Yeah.
I would go with those. But generally, because I am in sales, so much of my work is about visual appearance. I have to just look like a generic dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to, but it helps my job if I just look like a generic dude. So I don't try too many styles, though I wouldn't be opposed to a rogue. Like, if just part of my hair turns gray or white, I'm going to be like, fine.
I like that. You know what? I was just thinking that if I continued to keep the sides short like I do, but I did grow out the top, that I might end up, unfortunately, like without meaning to, a Legion kind of escalation of my curls just straight up into the air.
You could do a tongue and hot Legion where it's not the Paul Phoenix. It's kind of a coif.
A little troll doll.
Yeah, I think you can make that work.
Okay, what do we got next?
Okay, Asimov Fangirl on Blue Sky asks, we all know Zach's nitpick is when characters in the comics/movies climb through air vents. What is the equivalent for Adam?
Oh man, Asimov Fangirl, you ask the best questions.
Good question.
I don't know if I have like a storytelling nitpick like this. I know it drives Zach nuts because he's in the HVAC industry.
It's just like, that's not how. Look at a vent. Just think about it for 5 seconds. And honestly, I'm going to say it. Oversizing your vents so that Bruce Willis can crawl through it, that's terrible design. You think ASHRAE's going to approve that? You think the American Society of Heating, Air Conditioning, and Refrigeration Engineers is going to say, yes, this follows our best practices, especially around energy efficiency as laid out in 90.1?
No, they're not. They're not.
Can I jump in and suggest that something that really annoys Adam is that when I suggest that the rankings on the show aren't totally objective and partly a bit, he pushes back strongly on this. Strongly. He says these rankings are objective and that the criteria are objective and that I am mistaken in thinking that there's anything of a bit about this podcast. And I just want that to be known.
That's not an answer.
8 years ago, when I wrote the first text of the current ranking of X-Men stories, which I have never edited since. Oh, yes, I have. I did take one piece out of this because I didn't like the bit anymore. I said, these master rankings are the truth. There are no room for arguments, no room for discussion. It is the definitive ranking of the X universe. This is not a quantitative measurement. There's no cumulative score, and there will never be. Factors include uniqueness, historical significance, and the ever important how much I want to reread it test. But the whole is not dependent on the sum of its parts. So why don't you sit back and pick a couple of your favorite stories? I did say at one point that this was handed to us by Claremont himself, and then some people took that literally, and I had to.
Oh God.
I had to be like, I've already secretly made Chris's life worse a lot. So I'm going to take that out.
I'm going to go back to Asimov's question and say that because you work in HVAC and I work in education, I'm going to say that an education pet peeve of mine is that it does annoy me when the X-Men are teaching classes and they're really bad at it. Like, the X-Men should not be a school. They should not teach. They should never be educators. They just should not do that. But I wouldn't call that a pet peeve. So I don't really know how to answer this question. That was a really good question that I don't have an answer for. Maybe we have another question that I have an answer for.
Well, I answered that his nitpick is when his
Anna's was
romantic significant other challenges the objectivity of the list.
But that's
anyway,
not.
I like this.
it
This is fun.
It works. PB Frampton on Blue Sky asks, who makes up the X-Men All-Star baseball team? And thank you for calling it a baseball team and not a softball team.
Yeah.
Number one with a bullet. Number one with a bullet. Beast is the catcher, right?
Beast always has to be the catcher.
Beast is the catcher. He's already drawn in catcher pose.
Yeah.
Every time.
Who's DH? Rogue?
No, Rogue center field.
Because she flies.
Because she flies and then she kisses Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Gambit?
Gambit's not.
No, Gambit should be the pitcher.
Gambit would be...
He'd be a good pitcher.
I think Colossus is your pitcher.
Really?
I think it's the sheer power and the fact that his signature move is the fastball special.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's good.
Like,
Zach, that is incredible logic. Very good point.
It is hard for me to argue that it's not Colossus. DH is tough. I didn't think about DH.
I don't know. I think outfielders, you got to have flying characters,
What did Thomas Kincaid conclude on this?
Oh, that's a good point, because Thomas Kincaid did paint the X-Men playing baseball before
This is one of the most coked out things we've ever talked about on the podcast that no one's going to know. In this one, okay, I just want to talk about how Thomas Kincaid, the painter of light, answered this, because this is insane. Rogue is on third.
Yeah.
Colossus is the catcher.
No.
Jean is, she's hitting right now.
I don't have
Cyclops is pitching, which I get, actually. Cyclops is a perfectly reasonable pitcher. He's also the guy who's drawn as the pitcher most often.
He'd be a really good hitter, though, because of his masters of geometry. Like, he would get the angle exactly right.
He would be. Beast is a runner right now. I take that back. Rogue's a runner as well. Kitty's playing first. Storm is playing second. Jubilee is short. Iceman is on third. That's a bad light up. Thomas Kincaid, you did this wrong.
Listen, we can't expect the man who peed on Winnie the Pooh to get this correct. So.
One, Thomas Kincaid was dead by the time this was drawn. Two,
yeah, I'm not convinced he actually painted that painting.
No, because he was dead. This is from Thomas Kincaid Studios. The one thing that's so important about this painting, and Adam, you know what I'm talking about here, is that Moira's wearing the hat.
Yes, she is wearing
Moira is tiny in the background wearing the hat. Angel is just flying around like nobody's business.
Outfielder, Angel in the outfield.
Angel in the outfield. I have to do that. Storm probably plays outfield as well.
Yeah.
Storm probably plays outfield as well. I could see Cyclops if he's not DH. Let's put Cyclops at DH. That's a good. Is Wolverine short?
Is Wolverine shortstop?
Yeah.
Or is Wolverine short?
Both. I feel like your shortstop, actually, you do want to be a little bit taller, but I think it's hard for me not to put Wolverine in shortstop.
I think that's a fun idea. I might go Bishop. Because
you need a field commander there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need the best kid who's not pitching to be short or playing first. I guess depending on how bad the other team is.
That's a pretty good lineup.
When you play like little kid baseball and they add that fake extra position called the rover, just so like there's an extra position for somebody who sucks at baseball. Are you familiar with this concept?
Like, because they have too many kids?
Yeah.
That's called outfield.
Yeah, I know. Either right field or like they kind of just add like another shortstop.
Yeah, you guys go stand next to each other.
Yeah.
Is this a Canadian thing?
No, I think this is just if you have too many kids. And
I swear to God, this wasn't something that was just done to me, although it was done to me. But so who is the person who's like incompetent at baseball that gets put in the position that you don't really need so that they feel included, but they don't have to do anything?
Iceman.
Doug. Oh, Iceman's good.
Oh, Doug? Did you say Doug?
Yeah. Iceman's good because that's how Claremont treated the character as well. People never talk about how Claremont has no interest in Iceman and has never 50 years the man's never wanted to write Iceman. He's done it like twice.
All right, these have been some involved ones. I'll give you some quick hits.
Yes.
Napalm Maestro asks, which X character, hero or villain, smells the most like a roll of nickels?
Colossus? Wolverine's got to smell terrible all the time.
I think Wolverine's got too many scents going on to pinpoint one of them. Yeah. Wolverine does not wear deodorant, right? Like,
I don't know. Would deodorant even work on him with his healing factor?
Yes. What? Yeah. Deodorant's just like a layer of like junk we put over sensitive areas.
I don't know. I feel like his skin would reject it.
It's just sitting there. His skin doesn't reject a shirt. What is...
Zach, that was the funniest thing you said. That's so funny.
Roll of nickels. Man, yeah.
How about Skin? Angelo.
Skin's got a different weird vibe, and it's not his fault. Roll of nickels is so specific because there's a paper element to it as well.
That's true. I don't even know what does a roll of nickels smell like.
No, I'm getting it. It's a little musty, a little metallic, a little fibrous. It's got to be, the more I'm hearing it, Wolverine's probably the closest, but it may also be Colossus because he's got the paint. He's got. Yeah. I think Colossus. It's the easy answer, but I'm coming full circle to it.
All right.
Nikipedia asks, what's in Cyclops' pouches?
What's in Cyclops' pouches? Nothing.
I feel like Cyclops doesn't need the pouches that he has. I think when he has pouches, it's so that he can carry things. But Cyclops...
Portable Cerebro? Maybe...
I don't hate the weird triangle bandolier, but I also don't think it's essential for Cyclops to have it.
No. I mean, almost every Cyclops costume now has some pouches on the belt, but it's a good question. I mean, you got to imagine he's got a wallet. He's got to put that somewhere. You don't have pockets.
Scott is not trusting Google Wallet.
No.
He's a physical card guy.
Phone wallet keys. Phone wallet keys mints. Phone wallet keys mints vape. Phone wallet keys mints vape. Oh man, I'm trying to think of another thing that you could put in your pockets. I don't know. I don't keep a lot of things in my pocket. Business cards for me personally. Shuriken for him. He does have Shuriken in those pouches. What?
Tater tots for later.
Yeah.
Tater tots for later.
That's good.
That would be yes. Continue.
All right. Isaac, aka Gay Cyclops on Blue Sky asks, what are some of the X-Men's favorite video games?
Cyclops likes those Dark Souls games that my friend Chris likes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I don't like that about Cyclops because I don't like those games.
I think Wolverine would be too frustrated to play video games and would just throw the controller down. He'd be pissed.
Well, Wolverine. He's 1,000,000 years old. He doesn't want to play a video game.
He does it. Wolverine has... I take this back. Wolverine would play... If Wolverine owned a tablet, which he doesn't, Wolverine would play tablet games like a child.
I do think Jubilee would be really hyped about the Switch too and want to play Mario Kart World.
But Jubilee, someone who's hacky will create Jubilee as a Twitch streamer at some point.
Oh no.
I'm right. Like it makes that is the renovation, the reevaluation, the 2020s version of Jubilee, is it not?
I mean, I guess
that's the arcade girl. That's the Asian arcade girl who's like, yeah. Like, I mean, it's upsetting, but it is true. Here's what I want to figure out. Who plays the video games that I like, which are just games that are trying to be Super Metroid, but not getting as good as Super Metroid? It's the best video game. They keep trying to make it. They got really close with that Hollow Knight. That was really close to being just as good as Super Metroid. But my game of the year forever has been Super Metroid because it's still the best game that you could play that year. Who would play Kitty? Kitty would play those.
There we go. I mean,
Kitty
we can't go
would
through
play those.
We can't go through every X-Men. I will say I do think that the X-Men would be vain enough to play the X-Men video games that have been created about them.
Oh, most definitely. The new the thing is they have to buy them for the kids at the school. The kids at the school have copies of those for the common area. So you do have what's her name? Magma, Amara Quillen walking around and being like, I'm not like that. I'm
got me all wrong.
Brazil. I'm Roman. Zeus. What's going on with this? Nightcrawler asking why he gets murdered during X-Men Destiny in a weird... No, does Nightcrawler get murdered? I know Pixie gets murdered.
I don't remember.
Anna, does Nightcrawler get murdered in X-Men Destiny?
Oh, in the game? Oh, yeah, something bad happens to him, I think. I think you're right.
I think this should be our last question. This next one.
Yeah, well,
he does not.
Yeah.
Okay, no. This says that he does not die, but that's an AI telling me that, so I don't trust it.
Never believe the first AI result.
It's always.
I think they would play X-Men Legends, and Cyclops would play as Wolverine. Okay,
Maybe.
This is a good one for you. Ian X on Blue Sky asks, X years later, the Botabuys finally rank the Age of Revelation event, based only on the information available as of episode 400, which is today. Which parts of the event will rank in the highest echelons, and which ones will be in the sewer? Now, we know Zach reads the solicits, even if he doesn't.
I have been reading the solicits. I have been reading some solicits. Now, can I tell you every book that's coming out? Absolutely not. I don't know. Here's what I'll say. The one that Hickman has an idea for and Jerry Duggan is going to be scripting about Mojo that does not need to take place in this event and is just an excuse for Hickman to do more Mojo stuff, a thing that he secretly loves. Yeah, that's going to be a dope comic. Unfortunately, that's going to rule, and it's not going to make people online any happier.
I'm not super psyched about the bulk of the event. However, I will say I did enjoy Age of Revelation number 0. It highlights the fact that you can tell what McKay would love to be doing with his book if he was actually allowed to do anything. And unfortunately, he's still kind of being like a hamster in a wheel and, has to pull back instead of actually doing things of consequence. So it's really fun to see him unchained and like big stuff happening in a single issue, which I think he wishes he could do. I don't want to speak for him. I don't know Jed. So I'm hopeful at least that his parts are exciting and interesting, but I'm also just already a little bit down on it, as I've said online, because I know that all of this is going to be the genie's going to get put back in the bottle at the end of it, and none of it will have happened. So I find it difficult to really care about.
Eve Ewing's book's probably going to be good.
Yeah. Listen, there'll be fun parts of this, I'm sure.
I'm seeing if there's any other books that'll look good. Yeah, the Jed McKay stuff's drawn by Mahmoud Asar, so it's probably going to look great too.
Yeah.
And look cool, which I've said is important. I don't know. The one Ryan Northow, Ewing, Steve Fox on World of Revelation, that'll probably fare better than I want it to. Not want it to. That's probably going to be good or fine. I don't know I've not read any of Dave Marquez's writing, so I don't know if Sinisters 6 will be good, but it's provocative.
Yeah.
I look at that cover. I look at that cover and I'm like, that could get me somewhere. But like the rest of Joe Kelly's Radioactive Spider-Man will be bad.
Okay, one more question for the both of you.
Oh.
Dr. Anna Papard of Adam's House would like to ask, I mean, presumably there's millions upon millions of alternate universes in which millions upon millions of alternate universe photos are happening. But in this particular universe, what makes your respective co-host the absolute perfect person to host this podcast with and for? I don't know. You're doing it.
I want to start.
Oh man, you beat me.
I want to start. Because Adam balances out all of the insanity that
That's
I
what
may
was
be able
gonna
to bring.
say.
That's how. Listen,
Aw.
let's get metatextual here for a second.
Yeah.
The best comedy duos are always balancing each other out. There's the straight man and there is the goofy person. It's why Chandler and Joey were good characters and Ross was trash garbage, because Chandler was the straight man and Joey was the laugh 'em up goofball, and they made for a good mix. It's the Laurel and Hardy of it all. That is part of the chemistry of this show. Part of it is because, and I think the other part that works about it is that because I have an unhealthy knowledge of all this stuff, I am not the goofball, but also dumb. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I just need to channel it in the right way. And Adam is really good at that, of helping direct the energies to the right place.
Well, I will thank you. I was going to say something similar, but I will say that, I mean, the whole premise at the start of the show was that I was the idiot who had not read nearly as much. Now that I definitely have, I still am always amazed at your encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff, Zach. You will be talking about things and I'm just like, oh, right, that is something. Yeah, okay. And, you know, I don't know. It's just a pleasure to be on this show because
I don't think the premise was that you were dumb. I think the premise was that I was unhealthy.
No. Not that I was dumb, but that I was like the person who had not read nearly as much.
You had not read everything. You were still, hold on, because you immediately, in our first day of recording, we're like, we'll talk about this comic. That I said, well, I've never read that. You balanced out in a very specific and important way, because the stuff you read a lot of was specifically the stuff I had not read a good amount of, which was the 90s stuff that was poorly collected.
But the major reason that I decided to do this show with you, aside from your sparkling personality, is that I did not want to continue chronologically reading the books as I had been doing up until the point when we started the show. And I thought this would be the best way to actually experience all of X-Men continuity, which I still have not read all of. So
You've got
love doing this with you. And here's to 100 more.
Dude, this podcast is an absolute hoot and a half. I love doing it. Truly, one of my favorite things that I get to do. If I did not enjoy it, I have stopped doing a lot of things that I enjoy in my life. I have not stopped doing this. And for me, that is like a big thing. So I really like doing this. And I appreciate that people want to listen in to us hanging out.
Yes. Anna, thank you so much for being our summer mailbag train conductor. Appreciate you being here.
Doot, doot.
We love you,
Got
Anna.
more letters to deliver.
Adam more than me, but I still love you. You're great.
Folks, remember, go to the Patreon, get your requests in. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram, Adam Rec. Zach, what are we doing next week? I think this is the one I don't want to talk about, right?
We're doing clouds.
Oh, God.
We're doing clouds. We're doing comics about clouds.
Okay.
I didn't know when we said we were going to do comics about clowns that Adam was afraid of clowns. And then we did comics about clowns. And then I found out that Adam didn't like clowns. And that made me laugh so much.
I'm very excited to talk about clowns.
No, he's not. And I love it. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom 400. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!